That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
It's crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 177 of Camp Strange. I am your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor, Tracy McGravy.
And we're back to bring the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and lost. But before we do, we got to catch you up on any of the weird news you may have missed before we get into these stories. And as some of you may know, some of you might have not even noticed, but we took we missed the last 2 weeks episode, so we skipped an episode.
Yeah, whoops, my bad. I took a wrong turn.
David was in New York. He was putting around. He was eating Rat Kings and fighting Ninja Turtles. But we missed this is the thing. My first news story will address the thing that we missed that is just right up our alleyway. As Winter Park couple drops fraud lawsuit against OceanGate CEO after Titan tragedy. So, as most of you know about this damn Titan tragedy, it's a submersible that got that went down to go see the Titanic, and it was missing for a couple days. They thought, okay, we got to get to them before their air runs out, and then they eventually found out that they imploded.
They knew immediately. James Cameron knew immediately.
Did he?
Yeah. He's like, I knew on Sunday they were dead, and then they announced Thursday that they were dead.
Oh, but did he say that after the fact, or did he say that?
No, the whole time he's like, oh yeah, they're dead.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I mean, because the rest of us are pretty optimistic, but James Cameron's I've been down there, and
I knew they were dead the whole time. There's no way.
No, I know, but I think people are trying to be hopeful because it's just I've seen some people who are they're dead, they're already dead. You know, I was and they're we heard banging, and you're like, ooh, and then they went down and it was just a crab playing some shells,
playing the bongos
under the sea. But yeah, so they imploded within milliseconds. As the way that I heard it described to me through various TikTok videos is that if they put bombs on every square inch of the outside of the submersible, so I can't say that word, and they all went off at the same time, and they're so it just imploded, and they're are they going to recover the bodies? And they're there's nothing to recover.
Yeah, it's fish food.
The only thing that was recoverable was what they found, how they found it was the tail bit or something was 60 meters away, or I don't know how close it was to the actual Titanic, but they found a big chunk of the ship, and you're oh, but there's also currents going down there, so it's even if they were just a couple bones, they're just floating around, you know.
Yeah, they're getting juggled. Yeah,
so that's what happened, and apparently. This article came up, and this, I guess, Winter Park is in Florida. It's a very, very nice community. And there's a couple, Sharon and Mark Hagel. They apparently sued OceanGate because they paid them a shit ton of money to reserve a spot, and something happened. They reserved a spot to take the submersible down there to go check out the Titanic and whatnot. And I don't know what happened, but the couple said that the trip was both rescheduled and canceled, and they were told that they would not receive a refund.
That doesn't seem right.
Yeah, I know. I was wait. How can you just reschedule and and cancel it and then be no, you gave us $25,000 as a down payment or something. And they're well, you just don't get it back. So they're getting sued for fraud, but apparently they dropped it. They're suing the guy who
died.
Yeah, the guy who was in the ship who was with his Xbox controller. So they're we should probably drop that because it doesn't okay. And by the way,
I don't care if it's a dead man. I'm getting my $250,000 back. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, I was about to say
I don't give a shit. It could be $2.50. I'm coming to the graveyard.
I feel there's a couple of movies where they show up and it's oh man, I'm gonna miss him. It's oh, he did owe me $20. Do you know who I see about this? Like, they show up at the funeral and they're like, oh, he did owe me $20. Like, is it, who does that pass down to? His kids? Like, do they owe me $20 now?
Some real Larry David type antics.
Yes, very
That's
much
what I live
so.
for.
But like these people, I guess, are so fucking rich. They said that like they have the second. They posted pictures of their home on this.
Seems unnecessary.
I agree. I think they're just trying to gaslight the fact that
them.
they're so rich. Like, it's just really funny that they're.
Here's their kitchen. Here's their home theater. Like,
Dude,
their
look
gazebo,
at their
their
they have
wine
like
room.
the wine room, dude.
The wine
Okay,
room's bigger than my house.
they have like the second most expensive house in Winter Park, which is like that. Oh no, they have the most expensive listing in Winter Park and the second most in the Orlando region. So they have the second most expensive house in Orlando.
I don't care, man. $250,000.
No, these people are just trying to have like they're like, oh fuck, that's what bad karma does. Maybe we should drop this lawsuit because we have so much money that we need karma more than money. So they want to make a public statement that we're dropping this lawsuit so they don't get imploded. Watch, if they kept it, their house would just fall on top of them. Like, they put too many jewels on the ceiling.
No, they should definitely sue. Fuck that.
Dude, the company's
Get the
done,
money
right?
back and donate it.
I mean, it seems like suing like a part of Detroit, or from what I've listened to on podcasts, like East Cleveland. Like, East Cleveland has been sued so many times. The police department has been sued so many times that they're like, you have to wait guns. Like no, that is like you just have to wait like 50 years to get your money from them. Like, people are just like detained like for 3 days and not processed, and they're like, I'm suing you, and you're like, you have a case for like $50,000. It's like, but they won't pay you because the city's absolutely bankrupt. And I feel like that's what this company would be doing. This couple would be doing if they went after Ocean Gate. Like, they're gonna be completely bankrupt because no one's gonna go. Like, there's no way they would have to rebrand everything or close the company, right?
Yeah.
I don't know anybody who the fuck would get in this like submersible or another submersible by this company.
Yeah.
Would you?
Suicidal people.
What a way to go.
Yeah.
It's quick.
Well, yeah, from the things I read, it said that like the implosion happened so quick, it was faster than the neurons take to get to the brain to sense pain. That's how fast it just like crushed them, was that like their brains didn't even get to process the pain, which pain is like twice as fast as your visual neurons. So like they didn't see it, they didn't feel it. It was just done.
That's like, yeah, that's pretty good. It's
a good way to go.
Yeah.
If you have to go.
People always go like, man, if I want to die, I'm going to die in my sleep. But like, no one ever talks about when you wake up in your sleep and you go, ah!
Because not everybody has night terrors like you.
No, I'm talking about when you die.
Oh,
like, somebody's got to sit up and go, fuck, god damn it.
You don't just go into dreams. You just sleep until the pain, and then you wake up and die.
No, just because everybody else is sleeping next to you, so you wake up and you go, fuck, and then you die, and someone goes, he died peacefully. I'm like, no, he had like 5 seconds of agonizing pain and scaredness.
Yeah,
and
his
fear.
whole body was in shock for 30 seconds.
And then you were just like dreaming of candy canes and sugar plums, and this man's like, anyway.
Yeah.
But I feel like this way would be. At least I got to see part of the ocean.
Dude, I don't even think they made it to.
They didn't make it to the. I don't think they made it to the Titanic.
The glass that they had in it was like regulated for, what was it, like 1,300 feet?
Youth hockey games.
Yeah, it was like, it said it could handle like the depth of like 13,000 feet, and they're trying to go over 4,000 feet. 1,300 feet.
Well, this was like apparently their 3rd season going down there, so like it wasn't tested. Yeah, exactly. Because what I was told is that like these ships are usually made of like titanium or like iron. I don't know like what they make it out of, but it was made with like half carbon fiber, and they did
it was like
that
a plane.
Yeah, they did that to be like, oh, well, it's strong and like this makes it like cheaper. And you're like, the only people that are going on this excursion are people that can afford to do it. And I don't think there's going to be a huge difference between $50,000 to go to the bottom of the ocean to see the Titanic and $75,000 or $100,000. I think people are still going to do it. So you can use the right materials and just jack the price up because you're not losing Kevin from, Michigan, who's just like, oh yeah, I work in construction. I just kind of wanted to see a boat down there at the bottom of the like. It's only fucking weird rich people.
Yeah, yeah. No, I also saw that they so they had like a little monitor attached to the inside of it that they had screwed. They had like drilled screws into.
I watched them. I watched them do that.
Yeah, they think that could have been the thing that got them killed was screwing into the carbon fiber.
You think?
Because that destroys the integrity between that and the glass. Like that thing was a ticking time bomb.
Oh, I thought like, I mean, yeah, I guess it only takes one like wrong screw in the wrong place. I mean, but it keeps the integrity of like the door. But yeah, if they went too far or if they did it the wrong way, it could have fucked up everything, huh?
There's also the whole aspect of even if they had an emergency, they went back to the surface, they ended up breaching the surface in the wrong area. They would have still probably died because the only way to open the hatch for the submarine was like a power gun.
Yeah, I watched it. Well, I watched a TikTok video of the ride, right? Like whenever the previous ride was down to the Titanic, and it was like some guy filming it, and it was like
but you
it was like a tire.
You couldn't open the door from the inside. Someone had to open it from the outside. So even if they did surface, they could have still ran out of oxygen.
Even if they did shoot up to the top, they would have all had the bends.
I don't know if that works if you're in a sub.
Oh, because it's compressed or whatever.
I don't think you get the bends if you're in a.
Well, they have to go down really slow. It took them I forget what it was, but if it was like 2 hours, it would. If it was like 200 feet, or not 200 feet. Fuck, I don't remember. It would take multiple hours. I think they said it was going to take 2 hours to get down to the Titanic. So like, there's some kind of pressurized something going on there, right?
I'm sure, but
like you said, if they got to the top, they would have still been like, that would have been even worse to like suffocate on the other side of a window.
Yeah.
Oh man. Also, this couple, they went to space last year. So they're just fucking pieces of shit.
What else did they have to do, huh?
I know. It's
like
like
core the earth.
Yeah.
Spoiled little brats.
They got smushed by King Kong and his electric axe. That was cool when they did that in the movie.
That movie ruled. That's like
cool.
I love that movie, man.
It's one of your favorite movies.
One of my favorite movies. Great movie.
Not a big cinema guy. I'm more of a movie guy.
More of a big monkey.
Monkey with axe. Yeah. Monkey versus lizard is cool.
Very cool.
Okay, sorry. So we had to catch up on that because we had that was a big one that we missed.
Well, speaking of big lizard, Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg agreed to have a cage fight.
Okay, I heard about that briefly. Is that real?
Yeah, and it seems like they're both into the idea, which even if it does happen, it's probably going to be like the saddest cash grab you'll ever see. There's no way one of them's going to just like knock the other one out cold.
No, but that's the thing. I think Mark Zuckerberg does like jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah. No, Zuckerberg's going to win this for sure.
Yeah.
Elon Musk does not stand a chance. Not just because Elon
I saw
Musk
him with his shirt off, man. It's bad.
He's built like a boiler room.
I was going to say it looks like somebody flipped a turtle shell around on him. He looks like a turtle body. It's fucking weird.
Yeah, but just the fact that Zuckerberg actually trains in jiu-jitsu. Mm-hmm. And he is 39 years old, and Elon Musk doesn't do anything, and he's 52.
He doesn't do anything.
He just poorly runs Twitter, and that's it.
He just tweets something controversial and then eats a cake, a whole cake.
Cisgender is now a hate word.
Wait, is that a thing?
Yeah, he tweeted that calling someone cis or cisgendered is now a hate crime on Twitter, and you'll be like deactivated if you.
I
use those words.
honestly, it's like people have so much fucking times. Like, if you're mad about any of this stuff, just like go find a hobby like that. I don't even think about
Go
this
throw
shit.
rocks at a bird nest. I don't know.
Yeah, I fight people in my neighborhood. That is my hobby. I don't even look at Twitter. I'm too
I just
busy
fight the
pummeling Joe next door. Just pummeling him.
Sometimes
No one's
you
been
get
pummeled
pummeled,
lately.
You know? You haven't done a
No.
you haven't done a good pummeling lately.
No pummeling. Keith is gonna get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be the fight of the century. But I also think like I like to think that I would be like fit if I was like a rich person, but I also go, would I just be at the steakhouse every night?
Oh yeah, Outback Steakhouse, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, baby.
Bloomin' onion, please. Sir, it's 7 a.m.
Burn
I
through
said
3 of those a day.
bloomin' onion. That's like the highest caloric food that you can have. We talked about this, I think, multiple times on this podcast. But
I went to Outback
Big Bloom
Steakhouse
head.
not too long ago.
really?
I had a gift card that had
I
been
love
sitting in
their
my car.
knives.
The knives are great. It's a lot fancier than I remember it as a child.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty nice. Did I not? I felt like I talked about this. Did I not talk about this?
I don't think you talked about how fancy it was because I'm still think you're delusional right now.
It was fancy. Did I tell you about the little gamepad on our on the table?
Oh, you might have. You said that
Yeah.
you were the waiter said that you guys were the only ones who have ever paid for a game on that app on that iPad.
Well, it was 99 cents for unlimited games. Like, why not? But he thought we accidentally activated it, and he's going to take it off our receipt.
That's so funny. That is so funny.
Yeah,
Do you order through that pad?
you can.
Okay.
Yeah, but we played
Like
we
trivia?
played trivia on it, and then it was
Okay.
like comparing our scores to everybody else in the world playing trivia at that moment on those gamepads.
Do you think that's exclusively Outback Steakhouse rankings?
It might be because we were legitimately the only people playing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's no one else playing at that time.
Oh, it had to be at that time. Could it be like a history thing?
No, it was at that moment worldwide.
Well, you know why? Because Outback Steakhouse fancy, and fancy people don't have time for trivia. They too busy cutting
true.
into their hunk of steak.
It's true.
You know.
Steak was
But
good.
I didn't know they were so fancy. I gotta go find myself a Outback.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
I mean, I'm sure not all Outbacks are built the same, but the one we got's pretty fancy.
It's like a rainforest cafe.
Hell yeah.
Some are just elite, and some are the
Yeah.
saddest thing you've ever seen.
Counting them all.
Anyway, speaking of where you're from, Oregon,
Uh-oh.
they finally legalized pumping your own gas after 72 years.
I'm against it.
I would think you would be, you lazy fuck.
Well,
See,
I technically pump my own gas.
why?
That's
Technically.
That's something I'll get into later. I'm a part of a.
Because you steal gas?
I pump my neighbor's gas.
I'll get into it later. You're like, okay, so you have to suck on the tube after you put it in
Yeah.
your neighbor's car.
Gotta be quick though. No, I'm all for. I'm kind of bummed they're doing that because that creates a lot of jobs for the state of Oregon.
Okay, so here's the thing. I heard I'm looking at this article right now. This could be skewed. Don't get me wrong. This could be by big pump your own gas.
Yeah.
you know that corporation? They're right up there with Got Milk.
Yeah.
Just pump your own gas. But they're saying that there is actually a huge shortage of people that are willing to work these jobs.
True.
And that means that like a lot of gas stations are either like they shut down a lot of pumps or there's really long lines at the gas stations.
Yeah.
And they're saying this is kind of like an outdated thing because I think we spoke about this because I was like, this is weird. It's only New Jersey and Oregon that have this. So I was like, this is so strange. And I think you brought this up. You're like, well, it used to be more dangerous to pump your gas back in the day, which this article also says. And now it's like, it clicks off if you have a full tank. But I think before it would be like, you'd be sitting there and be like, I don't know how much to pump in here. And then all of a sudden it starts overflowing out your tank. And now you got a bunch of...
It has an automatic
gas.
thing that stops that, you idiot.
I'm saying back in the day. Did you just hear what I said?
No, I zoned out for a minute.
I said, obviously now it clicks when it's full, but back in the day, you could probably just like sit there and like overflow it by accident easily, I'm guessing.
I don't know.
So that's why they had gas specialists. But
to be honest, the problem with it is the fact that during COVID, Oregon's unemployment deal was better than like minimum wage. And so people were just like, oh no, I'm just going to sit at home and make more money doing that than working.
I think most places the unemployment was better than minimum. That's why no one wanted to go back to work. They're like, what the fuck's the point?
So a lot of smaller jobs like that in the state of Oregon took a huge hit during that. But that's not funny.
What's not funny?
What I'm talking about. Real life stuff. No one's here for that. No one wants to hear this.
We talked about people fucking imploding. I think we could handle a little job insecurity. This whole podcast isn't funny.
All right, let's take this. Funny. Let's take this back to Oregon, huh? As jury convicts Oregon man who rigged home with Indiana Jones booby trap, injuring federal officer.
Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna say what I thought you just said, but I thought you said something else.
All right.
I thought never mind. Okay, is this an old article?
This is from June 7th, 2023.
Okay. Did the guy, we talked about numerous booby-trapped homes on this podcast. Did he flip a hot tub on its side and use it like an Indiana Jones giant boulder?
Yeah, he did.
He did. Dude.
We already talked about this. Okay, well then.
No, this happened like years ago, I think.
Okay, well then I think this is just that he's finally convicted. That's probably why it popped up as news.
Yeah, probably. But we also said, like, a lot of these, like, I remember the one I kept seeing, like, year after year was the cockfighting guy who taped a knife to his chicken's leg, and the chicken ended up, like, slashing his leg and, like, killing him or something like that because he bled out.
Yeah, the source that I use for my wacky news, just about every other day, the guy jacking off on the seagull gets reposted. I mean, that's a hot ticket item right now. That one's all over the place. People can't get over it.
You know what? I'm sick of uncredible news sources. If you're going to tell me jack off eagle news, I want it to be succinct. I want it to be correct. Okay?
Yeah.
But I mean, what did he get convicted of?
He shot at so he lost his house.
Shot a gun?
No, he didn't.
What a booby trap. Okay.
He lost his house. And the cops came to take it, and they opened a gate and then saw that it was booby trapped, that a hot tub turned outside would roll down the hill and hit whoever opened the gate.
Hell yeah.
So then they decided to okay, so he was arrested in Arizona in 2017 and charged with unlawful possession of explosives. Mm-hmm. And so he lost his house. Oh, damn, this goes all the way back to 2018, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, well, I remember I covered like 3 people that had like booby trapped houses.
It's a great way to really catch some time. But he also booby trapped the front door.
Did he have a grenade on the other side?
No, he had a shotgun, homemade shotgun with homemade shotgun that shot when the door was. So they blew the door open with explosives, and then when they walked in. So the door wasn't trapped. It was like the pathway in. So when the guy walked in, the shotgun that was homemade, attached to a wheelchair, went off.
That's so spooky. That's very Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, and it hit the officer, the federal officer, below the knee.
Oh, that's a... Ooh, imagine a Razor scooter or imagine a shotgun.
Oh, I'll take the shotgun. Clean break, you know.
Below the knee, Jesus. Okay.
But yeah, he got sentenced to 20 years, but he's 71, so he ain't gonna be going to McDonald's anytime soon.
I have a real question. Like, I get that, like, you can't be, like, maiming people. Like, I can't go fucking put, like, a bear trap in my front yard and you step in it and people will go, like, I'm like, well, you shouldn't have been in my front yard. But, like, if I'm in my home and I, like, have a booby trap, like, is it the intent to harm somebody, or is it because, like, what if I just, like, I'm like, I can't afford security. I can't ring doorbell. I don't know what that is.
I was in another state.
Ring doorbell. I have shotgun wheelchair.
That's my wife.
It's the new company from Jeff Bezos. You said that's my wife?
That's my wife. Don't look at her.
But, like, I don't know. I think it's, like, kind of weird that, like, you can't have booby traps in your house. I get the sentiment behind it.
I've got plenty. You can have them. You just can't get caught with them.
I guess that's the... Yeah, but yeah, if it hurts somebody, it's like, well, you can't do that. It's like, why not? They were in my house. Like, I you know, if they were uninvited.
Just about every other book you see on my bookshelf actually contains hypodermic needles filled with pig's blood.
Is the pig healthy?
Pig's fine.
Oh, then what's the problem?
You don't want no pig's blood in you, let me tell you.
If you're kosher, you're fucked.
You're going to get real hot.
All my kosher friends. Oh, no, they're not going to like these books.
Yeah, they're not going to like my house. Pig's blood everywhere.
Okay. Should we get into our stories now, or are we all caught up?
We're all caught up.
Okay, we're caught up. Okay, let's just do this. Okay. Now, David, we all love staying at a nice hotel. The amenities, the adventure, the new place. The trying your key on the door for a minute straight before realizing that your room is 2 doors over. That fun move, oh, fuck, this isn't my room.
Yeah,
but sometimes we go to hotels to have fun, and sometimes we go to hotels to hide. Today, I will be telling you a mysterious and strange story filled with paranoia, sex workers, wake-up calls, and death. As today, we dive into the wild case of the murder of Artemus Ogletree. So, this whole story is kind of... It pissed me off a little bit.
Real mad.
Really not as much as Artemis, though, I tell you.
Okay.
No, but it pissed me off because, like, I get it. When there's, like, a mysterious death going on, you use the Wikipedia. It was just chock full of, like, bullshit. They're like, there was a man who drove by the night Artemis was there, and he said he heard a man singing, fucking "Oh My Darling" outside of the balcony window. It could or could not have been Artemis. And I'm like, I didn't need to know that. This is stupid. And so I try to cut out a lot of the fat, but there are a lot of interesting facts that happen in this story. So I'll just get into it. But so Artemus Ogletree was born in Florida in 1915, one of 3 children. And during his childhood, an accident with some hot grease left a sizable scar on his head above his ear, which remained hairless afterward. Classic hot grease accident.
Yeah. Those will get you, man.
They will. I didn't know hot grease because it scars, I guess, huh? And
it just burns
grow.
you.
Yeah. No, but that's why he didn't grow hair there, I guess, huh?
Yeah, you can't grow hair through burns.
Through scar mark. So in 1934, he left his family, who were then living in Birmingham, Alabama, to hitchhike to California. Pretty fun, this was 1934. This is before hippies or anything, so he's kind of a trailblazer in that sense. But he kept them updated on his progress by mail, and they also wired him money. This was 1934, but he was born in 1915. That makes him 19 years old?
Okay.
Is that true? Yeah. Yeah, he was 19. Okay. I didn't know he was that young. Oh, shit. So, as he was, putting across America, trying to get to California, early on the afternoon of January 2nd, 1935, so, yeah, he was 20 at this time, Ogletree walked into the Hotel President in what is now the Power and Light District of Kansas City, Missouri, and asked for an interior room several floors up, giving his name as Ronald T. Owen. Now,
I thought this was going to be like a Ronald McDonald origin story.
Happy birthday, Grimace.
Happy birthday, Grimace.
No, I wish. But as I don't know if I told you, but a lot of people like actually when they go to hotels, they use pseudonyms. A lot of celebrities, at least.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of like a fun little thing. I think they do it so people can't be like, oh, is Henry Cavill here? Ooh, should I out him? Do you know what his hotel name is?
I'm sure if you know it, it's not that anymore. Was
Maybe.
Is it like a Warhammer reference?
No, it was Jack Daniels.
That's stupid.
I know.
He's
No,
better
it
than
was
that.
Clark Kent. So he gave his name as Ronald T. Owen with a Los Angeles address. I guess, he's just being optimistic. I'm going to make it there. Staff remembered him as dressed well and wearing a dark overcoat, but they also noticed that he had not brought any bags with him, which they thought were really weird.
No baggage.
No baggage at all. He's kind of like a rambling man. Because Ogletree paid for one night, and the staff noted that in addition to the visible scar on his temple, he had cauliflower ear. And concluded
man.
he's a wrestler.
He's a wrestling man.
Oh, he got fucking pummeled in the streets if he came here.
Speaking of Jack Daniels.
Yeah,
Sounds like a whiskey man to me.
Speaking of Jack Daniels, I'd do that fucking that Mission Impossible arm cock thing. That
pump it up.
And then I just go at him and I fucking match his call. I give him broccoli ear on the other side,
And then you get just stomped.
I'd make it all green and shit. What?
What?
I wouldn't get stomped. I gave him broccoli ear. And so he had cauliflower and concluded that he was probably a boxer or professional wrestler. Arr. They believed him. What? I think I fucked this up.
Where'd you copy and paste?
Yep. The sentence just says they believed him to be in his ear.
The voices.
Eat more cauliflower. Fart more. So, this guy, Randolph Probst, a bellhop, accompanied Ogletree up to the elevator to the 10th floor. On the way, Ogletree told him that he had spent the previous night at the nearby Mulebach Hotel, but found the $5, which is in today's currency $100, nightly rate too high. See, that goes to show you, It's just $100 even today.
Yeah.
He would be like, that
too
is
high.
too damn high.
It's too high.
So he was just bitching about it. And then the bellhop opened room 1046, which per the guest request was on the inside overlooking the hotel's courtyard rather than the street outside. He watched as Ogletree took a hairbrush, comb, and toothpaste from his overcoat pocket, which was the extent of his unpacking. So that's all he had. Hairbrush, comb. Wait, he had a hairbrush and a comb?
What else do you need?
He didn't even have a toothbrush.
Oh, I thought you said he did have a toothbrush.
Oh, I said hairbrush, comb. Did they mean toothbrush? I thought it said toothbrush too.
Maybe
he had a hairbrush, a comb. Did he put toothpaste in his hair?
He might. Keep it wintry fresh.
I want to see him like leaning in the mirror, like super close to the mirror and putting toothpaste in his hair.
Yeah.
Combing it through and going, cauliflower hair.
Yeah.
Cauliflower
nice
hair.
and white.
Yeah.
Except for he's got the type with scope in it.
He's like, ooh.
Probably burn after a while, right?
That's the ooze. That was what the ooze are for.
Ah.
He not like getting sexual from it. No. It
Maybe
burns.
a little.
Maybe a little. So after Ogletree put those items above the sink, he and the bellhop left the room. The bellboy returned to lock it and gave Ogletree the key. After returning to the lobby, he saw Ogletree leave the hotel. A short time afterward, Mary Soptic, one of the hotel maids, returned from a day off to work the afternoon shift. She went into room 1046, which was his room, and was surprised to find Ogletree there. Since the previous night, a woman had been in the room. Classic. They do not communicate well enough. I've heard multiple stories of people just like chilling in their underwear, naked, or getting out of the shower, and then like a cleaning person walks in and they're like, "Oh, no one's supposed to be in here." I'm like,
that's how most of my favorite videos start.
The cauliflower files.
Yeah,
those are good. Yeah, those. something about the acting is just really sells it for me.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, you could stay.
Have you ever seen the AirPods one?
No, what's that?
Oh boy, it's a very famously bad like porn intro where a guy gets his AirPods like crushed in her hands, and he's like sitting on the couch and he's just going, "No, no, not my pods, no, no." If I see it every now and then pop up on like Instagram and stuff because it's an intro. There's no nudity, so like it gets shared a lot.
I was gonna say it's weird to ask you this, but can you send that to me?
I've never seen the full video. I've only seen the intro, but you can tell that that's what it is. Okay. It's amazing.
We should watch the whole thing together.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
I'll put toothpaste in my hair, comb it right through. We'll sit. We'll watch. So she apologized. I'm so sorry, but he said she could go ahead and clean the room. So he's like, yeah, just go ahead. I'm just going to chill here. So while she did, she noticed.
Hold on. Here we go.
Oh, that is actually like you could oh, you're going to play the.
My pants! No! I need them back! No! No, you didn't! No! My pants! No! What's the wrong?
Wow, that is really good, actually.
Yeah. He's like, it's one of those things where it's like a little kid pretending the crowd is cheering while he's shooting hoops. Like it's like the muffled yell.
It does kind of sound like that.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, no, we got to that.
Grinding him into dust.
With her hand? How's she doing that? What is he? Is he about to have sex with the Thing from the Fantastic Four? Jesus. Okay. So he said, go ahead, stay, clean the room. I'll watch. While she did, she noticed that he had the shades drawn and left one dim lamp on. This would remain the case when she encountered Ogletree in the room on other occasions during his stay. He was either worried about something or afraid, she said. In addition to this preference for low light, she told police later. So after she had been cleaning for a few minutes, Ogletree put his overcoat on and brushed his hair. Jesus Christ, man, this guy. He then
really likes his hair.
Yeah, I think this was a sexual thing. Comb and hairbrush. His mouth was rotten, but his hair looked great.
It ain't about the teeth, baby. It's all about the mane.
So, he then left, but asked her to leave the room unlocked as he was expecting some friends in a few minutes. So the maid, Soptic the maid, that's her name, Soptic the maid, did as he asked, and after 4 p.m. or at 4 p.m., she returned to the room with freshly laundered towels. Inside, the room was dark, and she saw Ogletree lying on the bed, fully dressed, of course, not trying to, there's nothing bad going on here. And visible in the light from the hallway was a note on the bedside table that read, Dawn, I will be back in 15 minutes, wait. Okay, we'll remember that. That might come into play later.
Yeah, I figured. You wouldn't have said it.
So, like I said, they got like so much. This, as I went deeper and deeper, I'm like, this is fucking like all over the place. I don't even know where to start. So the next morning on January 3rd, Soptic the maid returned to room 1046 around 10:30 a.m. The door was locked, which led her to assume that Ogletree was out, since it could only be locked from the outside, which is fucking weird. What does that mean? How can a door only be locked from the outside in a hotel room?
It's called a prison.
Is that like the standard back then? Like, if that means no one locked their doors. What?
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Was maybe there's like another mechanism? Maybe like that thing above,
the chain.
Like yeah, like that chain thing or something. Okay. Maybe. But when she opened it with her own key because it was locked, Ogletree was present. That means somebody left the room and locked it from the outside, so he was still inside because Ogletree was present in there, sitting in the dark, just where he had been the previous afternoon. Weird. The phone rang and he answered it, and he said, "No, Dawn, I don't want to eat. I'm not hungry. I just had breakfast." Ellipses. "No, I'm not hungry." he said.
Attitude.
I know. I think
Where'd this
Don's
guy get
getting those
off?
fucking nerves. Still holding the phone, Ogletree asked the maid about her job as she cleaned. He wanted to know if she was responsible for the entire floor and if the president was residential. I mean, the hotel was called the President.
Oh,
so
okay.
do people live there year round? He repeated his complaint about the Melbach exorbitant rates. He's like, fuck that hotel. After which he finished cleaning and left. Again, at 4 p.m., the maid returned with fresh towels and inside room 1046, she could hear two men talking, so she knocked. A voice she described as loud and deep, probably not Ogletree's, asked who it was. She responded that she had brought fresh towels, to which the voice said, "We don't need any." Yet Soptic knew that there were no towels in that room because she had taken them out herself that morning. Not a grand conspiracy. He just wanted her to go away. That night, both a guest in the room next to Artemus and an elevator operator reported unusually late night activity of men and women talking loudly and profanely all over the floor until 1:30 a.m. So that's what I'm saying, is that like they're going to start like dropping like some pieces and be like, that was kind of weird. That was kind of weird. I'm like, okay, it was weird, but was it connected?
Yeah.
And they don't know, so they're leaving it all in. So I kind of dumb it down a little bit. But at 7 a.m. on January 4th, a new switchboard operator, Della Ferguson, came on shift. She was preparing to make a requested wake-up call to room 1046 when she noticed a light indicating that the phone was off the hook. That's something you don't really see anymore.
No.
Requested wake-up calls, kind of a thing of the past.
Yeah, we all got cell phones with alarms on them.
Yeah, or alarm clocks with cell phones on them.
I used to request it, though, back in the day.
Were you traveling as a 12-year-old?
No, when I was in college, I would travel for my job. And I would ask them just in case, like, I didn't wake up from my phone alarm. Because I turn it off
for the
when I
radio
sleep.
thing?
No, that was when I was filming for athletics.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not a bad, like, backup, you know? It's kind of fun, too. It's
I like my backups.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So the Probst, the bellboy, who had led Ogletree there 2 days earlier, so the same guy, was on shift again and drew the assignment. He's like, okay, I got to go fucking tell this guy to put his phone back on his hook. So the door to room 1046 was locked with a do not disturb sign hanging from the doorknob. After several loud knocks, a voice from inside told him to enter. However, he could not, as the door had been locked. The same voice told him after another knock to turn on the lights, but he still could not enter. He's like, I can't fucking get in the room. Stop telling me to like turn on the lights and like come in. Like I can't get in. Finally, the bellboy just shouted through the door to hang up his phone. He's like, fucking hang up your phone. So the bellboy told Ferguson, the switchboard operator, that the guest in room 1046 was probably drunk and she could wait another hour. You know, wait till like 8:30, call him, do another wake-up call then. But when she went to go do it, the phone had still not been on the hook. So another bellboy, Harold Pike, was sent up to the 10th floor. Sign was still on the door, do not disturb, and it was still locked. But Pike had a key this time, so he let himself in. And inside, he found Ogletree in the dark, lying on the bed naked, apparently drunk. So, you know, he was drunk.
Hell yeah.
And this time, Harold was there. Harold, the handsome bellboy. No, nothing sinister happened. So, the light from the hallway showed some dark spots on the bedding. What's that?
What?
The light from the hallway showed some dark spots on the bedding.
Yeah, he shit it all over.
But rather,
What else are hotels for if you ever want to just shit on the bedding?
just do a little dog scoot across it?
Yeah.
Why can my dog do it, but I can't? Oh, I'm civilized. I'm supposed to be civilized. Can't put toothpaste in my hair.
Looks like freedom to me.
But rather than turn on the light in the room, Pike went to the telephone stand where he saw the phone had been knocked onto the floor. He put it back onto the stand and he replaced the handset. So he just put the phone back on the hook. Shortly after, this was at like 8:30, and shortly after at 10:30, another operator reported that the phone in room 1046 had once again been knocked off the fucking hook. Again, Probst, the bellboy, was sent to the room to see what was going on. The do not disturb sign remained on the knob. This time he had a key, and and after he knocked, he heard no response. So he opened the door and found Ogletree on his knees and elbows, his head bloodied.
Oh.
He wasn't doing the dog scoot or anything like that.
Okay.
It wasn't like, unless this might be sexual. Who knows? I don't know what you 20-year-olds in 1934 are into. Probably like hit me with a bitter chocolate bar. I don't fucking know. What are they like? What else happened? This was like actually during the Great Depression. That's why he was complaining about the fucking price.
Probably.
Oh. So he found this man bloody, crawling around like a little dog, a little bloody dog on the floor.
Little bloodhound.
Or bark for me, boy. So Probst turned the light on, put the phone back on the hook. That's all they care about. They don't care about this man bleeding on the floor.
Yeah.
And then notice blood on the walls of both the main room and the bathroom, as well on the bed itself. So those were the dark spots, I guess. Still could have came from his ass. We don't know. So Probst went downstairs immediately for help. He returned with an assistant manager, but when they did, they could only open the door 6 inches because Ogletree had fallen forward on the floor, so he was like blocking the door now.
He's fallen, but eventually he can't get up.
Basically. And eventually, they got 2 hotel employees to really fucking throw a shoulder in it and do some more damage on the bleeding man as they probably scooted him across the rug burn floor. But they were able to enter the room and went and sat on the edge of the he got up and sat on the edge of the bathtub. So the assistant manager called police, and they were joined by Dr. Harold Flanders of Kansas City General Hospital. Harold Flanders. Ogletree had been bound with cord around his neck, wrist, and ankles. His neck had further bruising, suggesting someone had been attempting to strangle him. He had been stabbed more than once in the chest above the heart. One of the wounds had punctured his lung. Blows to his head had left him with a skull fracture on the right side, and in addition to the blood Probst, the bellboy, had seen, there was some additional splatter on the ceiling. So Dr. Flanders cut the cord from Ogletree's wrist and asked him who had done this to him. Nobody, Ogletree answered. Asked then what had caused these injuries. He said he had fallen and hit his head on the bathtub. The doctor asked if he had been trying to kill himself. After saying no, Ogletree lost consciousness and was taken to the hospital. He was completely comatose by the time he arrived and died shortly after midnight on January 5th. We're going to find out some information right here, but I don't understand.
Is this a mystery thing? Like we don't know it exactly?
Nothing was concretely confirmed. Like there was no suspect, but there was an anonymous call.
Okay.
And there's a reason, because at this point they still thought he was, who did I say he was in the beginning? Peter Picklehead?
Yeah, Peter
Picklehead. Ronald T. Owen. So they still thought he was Ronald T. Owen at this point. They didn't know, but like later we'll find out how they found out his real name too.
Okay.
So doctors performed an autopsy on Ogletree and determined that he had died from his wounds. Dr. Flanders had examined not just the body, but the bloodstains in the room as well. Doctors don't fucking do that.
They did back then.
That's Dexter's job, you dumbasses.
Back then, a doctor made me a pulled pork sandwich.
Hell, he took my tooth out and fed it to a man. Can you believe it?
He said, good teeth.
He said one man's dead tooth is another man's medicine, and he plopped it in his fucking throat. That man died shortly after, I'll tell you.
It wasn't from the tooth, though.
From the pulled pork. That's the old MacGuffin. You never saw it coming.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so he was studying the bloodstains in the room. Since much of it had dried by the time he had arrived, he estimated the wounds had been inflicted between 4 and 5 a.m. that day, consistent with what Pike had seen and before Probst's first visit. Who cares? He fucking got stabbed. Doesn't matter when he got stabbed. He got fucking stabbed, and no one saw who did it. Detectives searching room 1046 took note as much of what they did not find as what they did. Consistent with what Probst had observed, there were no clothes in the closet or drawers. So, like I said, he didn't bring anything. The only evidence of anything other than what Ogletree had been wearing was the tag of a necktie, indicating it had been made by a New Jersey company. Doesn't add anything to the story.
All right.
That's what I'm saying. There's like, and I found a tag from a tie. And you're like, oh, so like a New Jersey tie maker killed him? They're like, no, not at all. But also missing from the room were the soaps, shampoos, and towels provided by the hotel to every room. We got ourselves a fucking thief on our hands.
Taking the good stuff.
It was a murder of greed. So they knew that he cared about his hair the most, so they took the shampoo.
Sick bastards.
Yeah. So there were no knives, which led to the dismissal of suicide as a cause of Ogletree's death, since the stab wounds in his chest could not be accounted for. See, that's like, first off, they're like, you should have fucking left a knife, you dumbasses. So the cords tying him up were also suggested the involvement of others, of course. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he didn't fucking tie. Like, you could be like, okay, he maybe stabbed himself in the chest and, you know, this and that. But, like, he didn't tie his hands and feet up, because you can't tie your wrists up like that. Yeah. You know?
You do it yourself.
Maybe, but I don't think so. So one of the room's 2 glasses were found in the sink, missing a piece. The other was on the shelf. Detectives found some other items that might have been evidence: a hairpin, safety pin, unsmoked cigarette, and a full bottle of diluted sulfuric acid. For fingerprints, small enough that detectives believed that they had been of a woman's, were found on the room's phone. That's kind of interesting. They could not be matched to Ogletree or any of the hotel employees who had been known to have entered the room. So the police sought help through the press. Both of the city's evening newspapers carried the story on their front pages the next day. There is the quote, "There is no doubt that," I'll read this in a 1930s voice. "There is no doubt that someone else is mixed up in this," Detective Johnson told reporters, confirming that the case was considered a homicide. So, like I said, this story adds so many side stories and side info that I had to cut some of it just, and just like list it here, make it more succinct. And I get why they do it. It's a mystery. Everything matters, so they throw everything in there, and it, might add to the case. So this is kind of interesting. So a sex worker tried to get up to Ogletree's room the night of the 4th, or who they believed to be a sex worker.
Okay.
This woman came up. She knocked on his door, apparently. This is all from like the elevator operator. She came back 5 minutes after, and she's like, "He's not there. That's weird. He might be in this other room because I see a light on in this other room." And he's like, okay, whatever. She ended up staying up there doing some investigating, but she left 15 minutes later, and she ended up going back up. She left the hotel, came back in the hotel an hour later with another man, went up to the 10th floor, and then around 4:45 a.m., she left, and then the man left 15 minutes later and was like, "I have to go on a walk. I can't sleep." So now I'm beginning to think that there might be some foul play with this man and this woman.
Okay.
But at first I was like, man, that post-clarity got him feeling some type of way.
Yeah,
he needs to go,
boy.
And you could take a 4:30 stroll through
Kill some small animals.
Kansas City. Ugh. So next, a weird coincidence thing was apparently a guy ran at a random car outside like a day prior, or it was the night of, I think. He ran outside the hotel and waved down a car thinking it was a taxi. When he realized it wasn't a taxi, the man apologized and asked the driver if he could drive him to a nearby taxi. The man agreed, and the whole time the random man in the back kept saying he was going to kill whoever did this to him because apparently he looked ran through and he had a cut on his arm. The driver went to Ogletree's funeral later and claimed that the body had the same cut on the arm as like the man that he drove that day. But the hotel staff were like, we never saw Ogletree leave the hotel, so I think you're wrong. And I think this guy just probably wanted to be like involved in the story.
Okay.
You know, like, because they got a ton of tips when they're like, mysterious murder, who is this man? Because they couldn't find out who the man was, because since Ogletree used an LA address and a fake name under Ronald T. Owen, they searched LA records but found nothing. They also checked with the Muleback Hotel, you know, the place where he'd been bitching about the high rates from the night before. They looked under that same name and they couldn't find Ronald T. Owen. So they kind of like looked at the details of it and they're like, well, did he look like this? Did he have no luggage? Did he request an interior room? And they found out that a man did all of that. And he also gave an LA address, and his name, the pseudonym, was Eugene K. Scott. So he gave a fake name over there as well. So they're like, what the fuck is going on? And like I said, a ton of people came forward claiming it to be like once he actually died and they put his face in the paper, and they're like, we don't know who this man is. People came forward and they're like, that's my cousin. And one guy was like, that's a pro wrestling client. Like, I hired him to wrestle before. And another guy was like, oh, that's just like an acquaintance of mine. But like, apparently none of the stories really matched up. Okay. But like, they could have been real. But like, it's, I don't know. It's very, very he said, she said. So nothing's really confirmed. But they kept the body on ice for 2 months trying to figure out who this man's identity was before announcing to the paper that they were to bury him in a plotter's grave or unmarked grave. The next day, they got a call from an anonymous man telling them to postpone the burial so that he could send money for a proper burial and headstone, claiming that the dead man would be near his sister. The funeral director told him that he would have to go to the police with this info because it's like obviously very suspicious. And the caller said he didn't give a fuck. He's like, I don't care. But then when the funeral director asked the man why Ogletree was killed, the caller was slightly more forthcoming. He basically told the man, he says, according to the caller, Ogletree had an affair with one woman while engaged to marry another. The caller and the two women had apparently arranged the encounter with him at the president in order to exact revenge. Quote, cheaters usually get what's coming to them, the caller said, and hung up.
Hell yeah.
So that's what I mean by like, nothing is confirmed about this murder, but after this, they're like, oh shit, this was like a lover's quarrel setup where possibly my whole thing was like, we're both women. Like, who was the prostitute woman? Was that somebody that he was having an affair with? That man must have been, what, her husband? Like, it's very strange. But on March 23rd, the funeral home received a delivery envelope, the address carefully lettered using a ruler with $25 inside, which is $500 today, wrapped in newspaper, and it was enough to cover the expenses. But the sender was unknown. 2 additional envelopes showed up with $5 each for a local florist to put 13 roses on the grave, along with a handwritten letter reading, Love Forever, Lois. So the funeral was held shortly afterwards, and besides the officiating minister, the only attendees were police detectives, some of who served as pallbearers, and other detectives posing as grave diggers stalked out the grave for the next several days, but no one came to visit. So they're hoping that, you know, the killer would show back up. Images of the dead man continue to circulate nationwide in hopes of identifying him. One of these finally did when the friend of Ruby Ogletree in Birmingham, Alabama, showed her an issue of American Weekly with an article about the case. The unidentified man looked a great deal like her son, Artemus, whom the family had not seen since he left to hitchhike to California the year prior in 1934.
There you go.
although he had kept up his correspondence with them, they did not know that he was dead because of another thing we're going to find out. So Ruby contacted the Kansas City Police Department and was able to provide enough information about the body to prove him to be her son, the kicker being the head scar from the grease.
The grease.
Oh, I dropped a bacon cup on him. You know, when you take all the bacon grease and you put it in a can or a cup and you let it harden. Well, I didn't have a cup at the time, and little Artemis's head was right there, and I thought, hey, his hair can soak up
hair.
His hair can soak up so much toothpaste. I bet this grease will do fine in there. So she dumped it. No. So this is the end of it. But while the question had been answered, of who he was, Ruby's account raised more questions because apparently she had received several letters purportedly from her son after he was killed. She's like, oh, yeah, he was killed on this date. And then she's like, I got letters after that. It's like, what? So the first, early in 1935, postmarked in Chicago, aroused her suspicion when it was typewritten. And as far as she knew, Artemus did not know how to type. Oh, come on. Don't do him dirty like that. Why do you fucking do that?
The boy can learn.
He's like, there's a lot of buttons on here. Well, you put your penis in this thing, or what do you do? This ain't toothpaste and a comb. I don't know how this works, Mama. So it was also written in high colloquial style, which was not consistent with his previous letters, which were just crayon drawings.
Yeah.
So on May 35th, another letter purportedly from Artemus said that he was going to Europe. It was followed by a special delivery letter saying that his ship was sailing that day, and both were sent from New York. In August of that year, Ruby received a telephone call from Memphis, Tennessee. The man calling told her that Artemus had saved his life in a fight and that Artemus himself could not call because he was now living in Cairo, Egypt, where he had married a wealthy woman and was well. He was unable to write, the caller said, because he had lost one of his thumbs in a fight where he had saved the caller. Ruby talked with the man for a half hour, and she recalled that he spoke wildly and irrationally, but seemed to have had first-hand knowledge of Artemus. She gave the police the name of the man identified. She gave the police the name the man identified himself by, but the name had never been made public to this day.
Wow.
So that's the whole weird fucking story of this guy. I don't know who to believe. I don't know if he had a wrestling career because, like, the cauliflower ear, but, like, did he?
Did they ever talk about his build? Like, was he?
They didn't say. They said that he was dressed nice, but I don't know how big he was. He could have been a flyer, you know?
Yeah, true, but
could have been a Rey Mysterio type.
Man, I can see a flyer when I see a flyer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like, I'm also so curious because like, how much of this is like true, and because I do believe that like maybe he got cauliflower ear because he did do some wrestling matches. So was this guy calling being like one of his ex-colleagues who got bumped on the head too many times, and he was like, yeah, he's in Cairo. He's in Cairo, Egypt. He lost his thumb. He's married to a... And they're like, oh, that's just crazy Ken. Like, he eats nails. Like, don't talk to him. But...
It's just his friend Dio.
Yeah, exactly. And I just don't... I do think it was like a lover's quarrel type thing, but very interesting how he didn't even out the guy because maybe he was embarrassed about the situation, or maybe he loved the woman or both women still, and he didn't want either one to get in trouble and thought he was going to live, you know?
Yeah.
So he's like, I did this to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And she went and got one of her guy friends to kick his ass, and they both kicked his ass, both women, and I don't know. It's very strange. The whole thing is very strange. So, they never figured it out, really. But I think all the pieces are there, and I think it's like a pretty shut case. Yeah. But just no suspects, really.
All right. Well, I will take your mystery and raise you with my own.
Oh, I love a mystery. Do they have their thumbs?
No.
I love this. No letter writing.
All right, Dobin. Today is a special day. Not
like
just
letter.
not just because we are back after missing an episode, but it's a special day because I'm going to tell you a story that is not in my usual wheelhouse.
Whoa.
That's right. No monsters. Well, maybe. No monkeys. That's also a maybe. I was writing this while reading it, so I actually don't know where it's going yet. I just know the general idea of the story, so I'm not going to make no promises about no monsters or monkeys quite yet.
They might pop up. You never really
You never know. But let's get into it. This is the disappearance of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon.
I love his donuts. Crispy Kremers.
Well, I structured this next paragraph solely for one reason, which is the two women.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Students from Amersfoort in the Netherlands spent 6 months saving up and planning a once-in-a-lifetime trip together to Panama. The two obsessed with this idea, and their dream was going to become a reality once, they saved up enough money. The two had planned to do the classic college backpacking trip in a whole new world to them, going as far to learn Spanish so they could do some volunteer work while abroad.
Do you think Panama was like a bigger deal back in the day because of the Panama Canal? Because I've never heard anybody I hear people go I want to go to Peru, or I want to go to Machu Picchu, or backpack through Central America.
Machu Picchu is in Peru.
I know. Sometimes they say specifically.
Sometimes I forget it's even a place, and I just think of that one song that goes Panama.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's Van Halen.
Yeah.
But no, it used to be a big deal because of the Panama Canal.
Probably, but
so
this
they're
story also took place in 2022.
Oh God!
If you would have let me get to that, mate.
So this was they're building the Panama Canal, correct?
Yeah. The Panama it's very, very relevant to the story.
It's the 100th year anniversary. That's why they're all going back. I don't know.
So the two girls had been hiking around. Allergies. The two girls had been hiking around the dense jungle of Panama for about 2 weeks during their backpacking stint of the trip. Soon they were planning on settling down with their host family and start their volunteer work with the local schools with all that Spanish they learned.
I don't think they're that good. Do you think they're that good?
Probably not. But they are from Europe, so they're definitely better than an American student.
Yeah. Do you think it's negligent to teach children in that? Can't really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, on April 1st, 2022, the two girls waved goodbye to their host family as they embarked on a mid-morning hike. But they were never seen alive again. Now, what happened to these two girls is still considered a mystery, including one theory from former detective of Amsterdam, Dick Steffens, who thinks Kris could still be alive as she as he believes she was taken and forced into sex trafficking by someone roaming the jungle.
That's the worst nightmare, right? That's
pretty much
the most terrifying thing. It's
I'll be mauled by jaguars first,
Yeah, I agree. Jesus Christ. Monsters for sure.
Yeah. Some believe that the two could have died in an accident that took place in the jungle. One of our very strange pieces of evidence
Can
is
you
that
implode in the jungle?
I'm sure you could.
That's why you couldn't find the bodies.
You could probably find something to implode you.
Gorilla imploded me.
So one of the very strange pieces of evidence that we have from this is that there was a number of failed attempts to unlock Kris's phone.
Oh.
So you know how iPhones, you guess the wrong password so many times it locks you out?
Oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
It could be a found phone though,
Yeah. Which led a theory that Kris had died and Lisanne was panicking, attempting to unlock the phone to call for help.
As like a safety precaution, how about you tell me your phone code right now, and I'll tell you mine.
Okay, it's 11112.
That's mine too. Mine's 22221.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
The moment that's a typo.
They have the fucking SOS thing. Everybody know you click the button 5 times on the side and then make a SOS.
I think you just hold it down actually.
Oh, well, you can still make, you can make emergency calls. People know if you click enough buttons. Come on.
We'll get into
to
it.
Okay.
We'll get into it.
Sorry, I'm excited. I want to solve this.
I know. The moment of suspicion that the two girls were I typed this horribly, so I'm kind of freeballing it right here.
Copied and pasted.
If this was copied and pasted, someone needs to lose their job.
He didn't have thumbs when he wrote it. He didn't know how to use a typewriter.
You only need the thumb for a space. It's just one word. So the moment of suspicion of the two girls' whereabout
That's funny.
Came when the two did not return from their hike, missing a private walking tour the next day, April 2nd. So, they don't show up for this thing they prepaid for. And, these two people that are living in the community for a couple of weeks, they're like, oh, wait. Now that I think about it, we haven't seen them for a little bit. Mm-hmm. Once the girls missed the tour, people realized that no one had seen the two since the prior day, and a search group set out to look for them, checking the jungle and nearby villages. The search would continue until April 6th, and at this time, the locals knew this was a much more serious thing than they thought it was. And the idea that the two girls might have just gotten lost kind of went out the window. Like, they think something much more sinister has happened. Mm-hmm. At this point, the girls' families decided to fly out to Panama with some Dutch detectives to aid in the search, which went for another 10 days. On the 10th day, just as the search was starting to pack it up, a local woman from the village turned in a blue backpack, saying she found it in a rice paddy along the banks of the river. So at this point, finally, some real evidence was found. Inside the backpack was 2 pairs of sunglasses, 2 bras, a water bottle, $83 in cash, Lisanne's passport, both of the girls' phones, and most importantly, Lisanne's camera. Investigators quickly skimmed through the photos looking for any answers.
Oh, invasion of privacy.
I know, right? And the camera had taken 90 photos, and the 90 photos had been taken deep within the jungle at the dead of night on April 8th between 1 a.m. and 4 a.m.
Whoa.
So they went missing the 1st, and these photos were taken on the 8th.
Ooh. And from 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. they took the pictures?
Yeah.
That's like the fucking scariest time.
Yeah.
What the fuck? You're not supposed to be taking...
That's when I'm on the deep web, trying to get Tupac's phone number, and I call him.
Yeah. Everybody knows no pictures allowed between 1 and 4. You know the fucking rules.
Out of the 90 photos taken...
Oh, wait, you can call one person, though.
Who?
Boss Baby.
Boss Baby?
He answered.
And Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah! They answer if you call them.
Minecraft Steve?
Minecraft... I don't even know anything. I was going to be like, Minecraft... Green guy.
Zombie.
Ganondorf answered.
Out of the 90 photos taken, 2 had clear photos of what sat in front of the lens. And I will also note that as far as I know, these are the only 2 that were made public. So there might have been more. Yeah. There might have been more that had clear images, but only 2 were actually distributed. And I will describe the 2 photos that were made public. Photo 1, an image of what appears to be some of the women's belongings scattered around on top of a large rock.
Don't like that.
This includes plastic bags, candy wrappers, mounds of dirt, and a mirror.
Oh, I thought you said mounds.
Mounds of dirt. Mounds of deer. I mixed dirt and mirror into one word.
We got a problem. It's not just a dead deer.
There's
It's
venison everywhere.
No, I thought because you said candy wrappers and then you said mounds, and I got all excited. I was like,
no.
"Well, some almond joys too."
No.
No one likes
So,
mounds.
that was the first photo. Photo number 2, and this is a rough one. This photo looks to be the back of Kris's head with her very noticeable blonde hair. But at the bottom of the hair, it appears that she could have been bleeding. And some people believe that if you look at it hard enough, I didn't really see it, but it was noted that people believe that she, in the photo, had a pool of blood gushing from her temple.
God.
Now, a common belief is that the rest of the public photos that appear to just be like either just black or blurry, like undecipherable, can't really tell what they are, were the girls' desperate attempts to light up the area to see something in a scenario. Yeah.
Using
so like
the flash. Classic horror movie move.
Yeah. So like in the scenario that these two are sitting in the dark of night and they heard noises, they were trying to see what was watching them.
Why don't they have, like, did they take their phones out?
They still have their phones. I don't know what type of it, who knows what type of phone it is. I don't know.
Yeah. And who knows if they even had their backpacks at that point.
True, they could have lost the backpack.
Oh, wait, no.
Oh, no, they had
the
the
camera was in it. Yeah. See, we're trying to piece this together with you guys,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Other people have suggested that these photos were actually taken by someone else who may have murdered the two.
Yeah.
Who exactly took the photos has remained a mystery. So, as I said earlier, they had recovered the phones, and one was locked out from repeated attempts to unlocking it. But they eventually got both of them unlocked and charged and stuff.
Did they get a fingerprint off that shit?
No.
Ugh.
And that was, I don't think I actually put it in the story, but I believe the Dutch detectives were not happy with the way some of like the
Panama police handled it.
Yeah, they think that they kind of botched it.
Fuck.
So
Seen it before.
Yeah, they got them unlocked, and they saw that both phones endlessly, repeatedly tried to call the police for help. Over 4 days of the time that they were lost, 77 separate attempts had been made to call cops in both the Netherlands and Panama. But out of the 77, only one call managed to connect, but the signal was lost 2 seconds after the success.
Ugh. Fuck me, man.
Could you imagine?
I'm going to have to look on that Verizon map and just be like, these are the only places I will travel from now on.
Well, they make those emergency phones that you can call from.
Oh, no,
anywhere.
I can't go to Nevada anymore.
No more Vegas for me.
No.
So the call logs did help with providing a timeline on how long at least one of the girls was alive. But it was discovered that the phones had ran out of battery by April 11th, 10 days since they had last been seen.
Oh, better than my phone. My phone's in like crisis mode right now. It's
yeah, always.
It's in the drain half of the fucking thing while you're on TikTok for like 5 minutes.
I mean, that's why I never travel without one of those portable battery things.
Oh yeah, that's smart. I need to get one of those. I mean, I do have one of those actually. I got it as a gift.
I almost never resort to it, but just in case,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never know.
You know.
After receiving the backpack, police searched the area that it was discovered at to find Kris's clothes neatly folded and placed on the ground near the edge of the river.
What?
Now, it's possible some old lady was just walking by and saw him and folded him up and put him down on the ground, but who knows?
So they were lost in the jungle, or were they?
Well, they went into the jungle for a hike and then never came back. Which, yeah, I'll get into it. A long 2 months later, a pelvic bone and a foot still inside of a boot were found not far from the other belongings. Soon after, remains of both women were found.
Oh, shit.
Lisanne's bones appeared as if they had decomposed naturally in the jungle, but Kris's bones were mysteriously unnaturally white, as if they had been bleached.
What?
Which has led people to believe that Lisanne was killed and Kris was taken and put into sex trafficking, later killed and placed with the remains of her friend to make it look like an accident.
Oh, really? Why would they bleach her bones?
The thing that gets me is that they found their remains like next to a poppy or a rice field.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, they had to have been close.
That's what I'm saying. Is that like, were they near somebody? Like, or did they get kidnapped, killed, and then somebody was like, "We'll just dump them by the rice field." So like
The same place we threw the backpack.
Yeah, or like, yeah, exactly. Like they took them into civilization for however long, and then killed them, and then brought them back out to the area where they initially found them. But like, they weren't gonna trek 2 miles into the jungle. They were gonna, but like those guys found them too. Or this is all speculative. Obviously,
of course.
We don't know what happened. But if that did happen, then how did they find him in the first place? And unless they were near civilization, I don't know. There's like so many different factors,
Yeah, a lot of variables.
Oh man.
So to this day, the causes of their deaths have never been determined. And
I thought you said one of them might still be alive at the beginning.
So I think, based on what now that I'm like reading it out loud after I wrote it, I think that this was like an article I was reading was like a continuation. And so I think that was him commenting during the disappearance, saying that he thinks one of them could still be alive.
Oh, okay.
But then when her bones came back bleached, it kind of like enforced the idea that she had been taken.
That is so weird.
Yeah, and the remains, so they've never been determined and remains a complete and total mystery. So this leads me to ask you and our listeners, were the girls a victim to exposure of the jungle being eaten by the wildlife post-mortem? Were the girls attacked by the wildlife? I meant to look it up. I'm not sure what all lives in Panama, but there's probably some big cats, shit like that.
What predators live in Panama? You don't live there, right?
I don't live there, no.
You predator. If you're looking for the most dangerous animals here, you may hope to see the elusive big cats that make Panamanian jungles their home. The jaguar, which is the largest of the cats of the Americans found here. Ocelot, margays, pumas, and jaguarundis. I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
But
well, there you go.
Yeah,
so there is dangerous wildlife.
Well,
and hold on, the third one. Or were the girls attacked by a group of horrible people, killing one and taking the other to live her final days in hell? We may never know, but what do you think happened?
Well, the one thing my mind keeps coming back to is the foot in the boot.
Yeah, because that's a sign of wildlife.
Yes. So if there's usually like sharks, like usually when a shark attack happens and a shark eats a body or whatever that's out at sea, not a shark attack, but a shark eats like a dead body that's out at sea, the feet usually wash up on shore because they can't digest it with the shoes still on. Yeah. So they'll spit back out the shoes. So you'll find like feet and shoes on the shore, which is probably the same thing for a jaguar. But at the same time, if there is a jaguar chewing on a bone, there are teeth marks.
Part of me almost wonders, do they have crocodiles or alligators?
That's a good question too.
It seemed like they were close to the river.
But like at the end of the day, they found their bones. Like they have to have some form of like chew mark on it. And if there's not, then is there some sort of cut mark on it from like a machete or a knife? Or if not, did they just like, I don't know which bones. They didn't find their skulls or anything. They just found like pelvis bones, correct?
Yeah, and then you also have to factor in the idea that they had attempted to call emergency services multiple times. So
That's
like they
true.
knew something bad was happening.
Yeah, they were either lost in this jungle, but that doesn't make sense because they were like you said, they were kind of near civilization by the end of it.
Yeah.
And unless they stumbled upon something deep in the jungle, like a camp of like sex traffickers or something, they got kidnapped, taken to another spot, killed and then dumped somewhere else near where that area was.
Yeah.
But like, why would you even dump it near your camp? That's the hard thing, is that there's so many factors that could happen. But like I said,
none of them really line up.
but the main thing is, like, I want to see the bones, and if they're like leg or arm or any kind of bones that either have bite marks or cut marks on them, then I think we'll get a lot more answers in terms of how the story can even, because right now it's just so wide. I like, there's like 2 roads going down. I'm like, I need to choose one of the roads, because even both of these roads are so wide. But if you give me a 50-50 shot animal or person, then I can actually start making some assumptions. But holy shit, that's terrifying. I get so freaked out about like that kind of shit traveling. You know, I've heard numerous people who go traveling and backpacking in certain places, and you know, just like, you just got to be very careful and wary, because a lot of people, like, it's most of the time harmless, but like they'll rob you. So like they'll, you know, they have like gangs of people that are like, you walk across a bridge and 2 guys block it on one side and then 2 guys block it on another side, and they go, give me all your stuff. You just give it to them. But you know, give me that. But yeah, you got to watch out, like, cause sex trafficking, they don't want your stuff. They want you. So it's like, you just have to be really careful and be wary of, like, I hate to say this, but like overtly friendly people too, you know, cause they have tactics. They have, you know, a way.
Yeah.
They have the ways. So, Jesus Christ. That's scary, man. Anyway.
I'm glad I scared you.
You scared me. I'm scared. Well, you know, R.I.P. to them.
Yeah.
That's sad. R.I.P. to toothpaste hair. Ogletree. But, yeah, I think that wraps it up today.
Yes, it does.
So we're back, baby. And if you guys want any more information, all right. We love telling you these stories, and we love when you stick around and listen to them. And if you guys want any more information, you go to Camp Strange Podcast on Instagram. David will maybe post these photos if they're not too graphic. At least one of them.
Nah, I'll post them.
Okay, he'll post them. And, yeah, you guys can find all of our merch if you click the link in the bio. Rate, review, subscribe on whatever you're listening to this on. Share it with a friend. Share it with your meemaw and your peepaw and your grandpepper and your neighbor who you just pummeled to fucking hell. He got no more bones in him no more. They ain't gonna find nothing. I pummeled him too hard. I'm like,
just
he's
dust.
like he's my iPod. He's your i fucking, what are they called? AirPods.
He's
crushed
dusted,
to dust.
Man.
No, my bones. What the fuck? What the fuck?
No.
And I guess, David, do you have anything to say before we officially get the hell out of here?
It doesn't matter what time of day you're going hiking. Always pack a flashlight and a spare phone charger.
And extra water.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a flare gun.
And a gun. Yeah, flare gun.
And a knife.
Big knife. Bowie knife.
And helicopter?
A helicopter. Pack a helicopter.
That's not a bad idea. Helicopter's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much, and don't forget to stay strange.